For joining us tonight for this auspicious occasion, and well-deserved congratulations to each of our graduates this evening. So my name is Priscilla Borders. I was one of the facilitators for this year's class, and like the time I was asked to facilitate the class, I was voluntold to do this MC tonight. So I got a call from him and like, okay. And you know John, when he talks, by the time I'm finished, like, I just volunteered to do something. I don't know what it is. And I called him last night and said, what am I supposed to do? I don't have any agenda. So I got it now. So we talked a little bit last night, but I said, of course I'd be here because you guys did a phenomenal job, and I enjoyed every opportunity to facilitate the courses that were offered to you this year. So let me begin with the program that we have tonight, and you can find the program in the booklet that you were able to pick up when you first came in. We're going to have a welcome by Miss Holly Hesse.
Hello, I'm Holly Hesse, and as the mother of a struggling reader, and now an interventionist who teaches children through adults to read, literacy is very special to my heart. So I had the privilege of meeting John through Nora Shabazi, who you will hear from later tonight, and what they share in common is not only their commitment to literacy, but their commitment to action in eradicating illiteracy everywhere. I'm excited to be able to spread that information and message into Washington, D.C. in March. And I want to welcome everyone and congratulate the graduates tonight for this event. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Holly, for the opening. So let's proceed, and we will have the purpose of tonight's ceremony agenda brought to you by Dr. Jasmine Clark, PhD, Georgia State Representative.
Good evening. Good evening. Oh, I know y'all can do better than that. Good evening. Good evening. All right, that's what I'm talking about. My name is Dr. Jasmine Clark. I am the state representative for Georgia's House District 108, which is located in the Lilburn area of Gwinnett County. And today we are gathered to celebrate the accomplishments of the graduates of the National Education Foundation 2020 Talk Nonprofit Executive Leadership Coaching course. Say that 5 times fast. All right, the graduates have taken part in a series of forums focused on building or strengthening their nonprofit missions and objectives. They were coached by esteemed local, national, and international leaders such as Dr. Rashad Ritchie, philanthropist Calvin Hughes, and Mr. Sergio Fernandez de Cardova. Participants took courses such as how to message effectively or how to turn your challenges into powerful results. As someone who has served on a board of a couple of startup nonprofits, I know that today's graduates are graduating with a wealth of knowledge that can be used to cultivate their businesses and serve their communities. I have also had the opportunity to work with National Education Foundation 2020's founder, John Marsh, and I know his passion for service as I've worked with him at a number of community events. We have given out free glasses to students in the Lilburn area. He has done hearing and vision screenings at my school supply giveaways. So I know his passion. And so I am sure that the graduates were in good hands. So I just want to extend a congratulations to the graduates, and I want to say that we all wish you success on all of your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Clark. So let's proceed to the opening remarks. According to the agenda, it should be Attorney Matt Reeves, but he sends his apologies. He's not able to join us here tonight. So in his stead, we will have, let me see, Kirkland Carden, who is the candidate for Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners. He will proceed with the opening remarks.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Kirkland Carden. I am a candidate for re-election to the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners. I want to be sure that y'all, communicate that to y'all, that I currently serve on the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners. I represent District 1, that includes the city of southern tip of Suwanee, all of Duluth, Berkeley, Norcross, Peachtree Corners, with a little slither of Lawrenceville. And I've had an opportunity, the blessing really, to serve my community in 3 years, going on to the 4th. And I will tell you firsthand, I know how important it is for small business owners and nonprofit owners. I know they contribute tenfold back to our community. And I know many of you in your backgrounds, and that's your area of interest. Small business owners are a major employer here in Gwinnett. I know we're not here in Gwinnett, but up the street in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And as for the nonprofit space, we as a county, we work with our nonprofits very closely to help us address some of the problems, challenges, and issues that we face across our county. You know, our business model in Gwinnett is we don't have different departments or different agencies like some other governments across the region or really the country. We lean a lot on our nonprofits, on our partnerships with them. So today I was not the original speaker, but I do want to share with you some of the tools and resources we have available here in Gwinnett County, Georgia, to help people like yourself succeed. Because when you succeed, Quenisha succeed. So real quick, we opened the Entrepreneur Center in downtown Lawrenceville, just in the shadow of the square. We opened that, I believe it was winter of 2021, and that Entrepreneur Center is designed to help small business owners and folks in the nonprofit space work in an environment, an incubator environment, where they can get mentorship, training, networking opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't. This is a county subsidy, county funded facility. So it's here for you. Please take advantage of it. Another program we had recently, we started in September of this year, it's the Small Business Grant. So we took some $6 million of COVID money, put it in an account, and we said we are going to give small business and nonprofit owners, and there are requirements, I'm not going to get into the very details, but if you qualify, you can receive up anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 to help you recover from a loss that you may have experienced in the COVID-19 pandemic. So these are just 2 programs, and there are many, many more coming, because this group of commissioners, as I said before, realizes the benefits of investing in people like yourself. So again, my name is Kirkland Carden. If you need anything, feel free to visit my website, Kirkland, the number 4, Gwinnett.com. If it's a little more on the professional side, in my official capacity, visit or email me at kirkland.carden@gwinnettcounty.com. And if for some reason you didn't catch that, just tap Regina Carden, she's my mom. But I want to thank you all. I want to thank John for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all. I do have to leave early. I have to get some much needed family time in this evening. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and thanks again. I'm proud of y'all.
So you're here right now is some beautiful music from Choo Choo Boo. She will play a little music interlude as we progress to our next moment on the program. Okay, and been playing the entire time we've been here, so we appreciate her service tonight.
Good evening again. So, as the leading literacy expert, Nora has spent more than 20 years revolutionizing reading instruction. She has received recognition for her lifelong work in the form of several noteworthy nominations and awards, including the Editor's Choice Award from Celebrity Press, the Quilly Award from the National Academy of Best-Selling Authors, and the Literacy Champion Award from DNA Films. She is a published author worldwide and has been featured in multiple literacy development articles and books. Nora is a featured speaker across the nation and has collaborated with universities to advance research and development of reading. She is also the literacy consultant for the documentary The Truth About Reading, and she has been featured in multiple TV and radio interviews and podcasts, including APM and Oprah Radio, where she was interviewed by Maya Angelou. Her life's work is to teach the world to read. Ladies and gentlemen, Nora Shabazzi.
Hello, everyone, and congratulations, graduates. I am a small business owner, and so I understand that and work a lot with nonprofits and greatly appreciate what you do in the mission to teach the world to read, because it takes all of us to make that happen. And what I am going to do here is show a trailer of the movie where I was a literacy consultant called The Truth About Reading. And Frederick Douglass said, "Once you learn to read, you'll be forever free." And in our country, 65% of our fourth graders are not proficient at reading and are not free to be full citizens in our society. And then they become teens, and then they become adults who are subliterate or illiterate. And I am tremendously passionate from a personal place. I am actually a nurse, a neonatal intensive nurse by training. I did that for 10 years before I began doing this for 25 years. I have been because of my own child's struggles with reading back in the 90s. And as a parent, and I look at these beautiful children in this row here who are so well behaved and so darling in our future, any parent understands what that does to you when your child is struggling and suffering. And lack of literacy is tremendous suffering, not just for us parents and our children, and it's for the entire community and really the entire society. So I have dedicated my life to literacy, to improving literacy, to bringing along and partnering with anyone else who has that intense passion. So I'm going to show you this little clip of The Truth About Reading. It's the trailer. The full movie is available, and I will get that link to John. You can purchase that. It's going to be on streaming coming up in the beginning of 2024, so you'll be able to see that. So we look at every single avenue as a possibility to help raise the bar for literacy. We had a school in Detroit that had 0% proficiency in high school, and all their kids were reading at least 4 years grade level. And I went in and the teachers were trained, and when I went to coach in this school, there was a young man, he was a 10th grader, his name was Brandon, and he said, "You know what, Miss Nora, I'm saving my money so I can get trained in your system, because I've learned to read and my can't read, and my siblings can't read, and I'm gonna do that. I'm saving my money." And I said, "You just got yourself a scholarship." And he, not only did they allow him to go and do this and be excused from school, they sent a teacher with him. And then he actually videoed himself at teaching his school. His dad wouldn't let him teach him actually. But he taught his siblings and he taught kids from the school that he had gone to. And he said, the whole atmosphere at our school is so different because we're all truly learning to read, and just instead of just being told that we're learning to read. So we'll take all the Brandons. Anyone who is interested in raising the bar and helping with literacy, they can do that and make really meaningful change. So my passion is to go, we don't advertise, we don't have salespeople, people come and find us. We're in 45 states and 15 countries so far, and people have found us organically because we don't want to argue or fight or even discuss. We want to be like, let's take action, let's move that, there we go, let's move that bar, let's teach the world to read. If anybody's in for that, I'm with you, right? If anybody is not and want to just admire the problem, I don't really do that so much, but taking action and making a change, that's what we're all about. And that's what this movie is about too, so hopefully.
Right, bought, interested, knowledge, peace, euphemism, euphemism. Unless I really dig deep into this one, I don't have an answer.
The answer is really hard.
This seems like elementary school. I feel embarrassed.
All across this country, kids are not being taught how to read the words. This is a misunderstanding that has to be exposed, that the system works for most kids, it's those few that fail. And that's a lie.
Look it up, it's everywhere. You will see over 60% of children are not reading at grade level proficiency.
I was definitely hiding, keeping this secret to myself because I was embarrassed. More than anything, I felt like a fraud.
I remember I was always nervous to get called on. The teacher would realize like who would read the best. They would eventually just continue calling on that person to read. I would always struggle.
17 years I taught public high school in California. I could not read, write, or spell.
According to BeginToRead.com, 2/3 of students who cannot read proficiently by the 4th grade end up in jail or on welfare.
Half of them cannot read. 50% can't read.
I asked myself, is that a coincidence or is it intentional? The suburbs, the white flight, people run into the suburbs, and how our government created the slums. As someone who grew up here, who has been incarcerated, I was a product of my environment. The school in the poor neighborhood got all the government funding, they got all that money, all those resources, but performance didn't improve.
There's a notion, a belief that kids start to read, they've matured to the point ready to start reading, not correct.
The reading wars, be teaching kids phonics or what was termed whole language.
You can see the wind whine through the valley because of the fog. Wind and whine are pronounced differently. They're spelled exactly the same. Phonics does you no good. It is contextual.
The theory was they just need to memorize a whole bunch of words, and that's what good readers do.
They say, no, it's all about comprehension. And I say, well, but if they can't read the words, how can they comprehend? It's almost like suggesting that a child who was listening to Mozart all their life, you put them in front of a piano and you say, now you play Mozart.
The research unequivocally solid that phonemic
Awareness is absolutely critical to reach your highest potential of reading and spelling. It's something that we use all the time when we're reading and we don't even know it.
It's a lot more than phonics. It's the mechanics of how to read.
My daughter's kindergarten year, I was in the classroom, I saw their teaching instructions. She had directed them away from the words. Look at the picture. Do you think it's a bear or is it a fox? Stopped me in my tracks because it was everything that I had taught myself to do to look like a good reader.
And so you have to ask yourself, if we have this data, if we have this knowledge, why does there have to be a war? When we know that the outcome of having that debate is literally the trajectory of someone's life.
If people only knew. Totally tears you apart.
Like having a cure for cancer and waving it and saying, get it for yourself. This entire issue requires a grassroots movement of parents and educators who are angry and who say enough is enough.
We're not done. We're not done. It's not too late.
And I do want to say, as I've been brought down by these lovely ladies and, Divine Intervention to Georgia, I've learned a lot about the great literacy work that's going on in this state. And it's so exciting to see this evolvement and what is going to happen. But when we have 35% nationally of our kids that are proficient in reading, we've got a big job ahead of us, right? Georgia is doing great work. It's so exciting to be a part of that and, helping move that needle. And we can do it. And it really does take all of us. I think of, I work with a Western Michigan group up in Michigan, of course, where there's about 300 businesses that work together and collaborate actually with the schools. And I heard yesterday at a literacy event that I was at, thanks to Bridget that invited me to, that they're doing the same thing here in Georgia with those businesses and connecting, because all of us are taking responsibility for how do we help move this forward. So I'm very, very pleased to be here, very excited about the things that you guys are doing and the good that you're doing in the world. But truly, if we want our children who then become teens and who then become adults to be truly free and truly engaged fully in our society, we have to make sure that they are highly proficient at literacy. And so together we can do that. So I say, let's go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that powerful, powerful presentation. I'm just going to chime in for me, because equity in education is very much a priority for me. I have a senior, and reading, literacy, to me, is part of equity. Not only for children, because if you can't read and you don't graduate, or if you graduate not reading, guess what? That's going to be something that's going to hold you back throughout your entire life, and this is powerful, and that shows us. And like with you and other nonprofits, these leaders are going to have here, they're going to make their mark for our children and for our community. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So now I am going to ask John to come up to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank each and every one of you all for being here. I know my lane, and I know when to stand down. The gentleman there with Faith Video Production, Keith and I met, I guess now it's been about 10 years, right around the corner from here, at a television broadcast facility, and he was helping me launch a broadcast company, and he has been with me now for almost a decade, and I'm very grateful and thankful for the work that he has done in the body of work to be able to capture these moments. And one of the things that I would like to also reiterate right before I bring up Scott Johnson is to make sure that when you, as you're developing each and every one of the different modules that you're doing with your nonprofits, always make sure that you have video. You have to have that, because my mom told me something. When I say my mom, I smile. But my mom told me something many years ago. She said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And if you don't have the video, you don't have the picture, it's going to be difficult for you to market. It's going to be difficult for you to show the evidence-based. I think that's your motto, to have the evidence that people need to see. And thank each and every one of you all for being here tonight. I'm honored and truly blessed to have, to be in the presence of such esteemed guests. And when I say esteemed guests, I mean each and every one of you, because you take something, it's called your time to be here. Scott Johnson and I have been friends for many, many years. And, I knew Scott had mentioned, I always tell my children that God gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because he wants us to do twice as much listening. And so Scott tells me at Agnes Scott, when the gentleman that's from the United States government over all the education departments in the free world, he says, Scott tells me, he says, John, I said, how you doing, man? So glad to see you. And everybody's buzzing around shaking hands, and it's so I'm just glad to be in the room. Scott looks me right in my face, and he says, I'm over the literacy program. I'm working with literacy. So good to see you, Scott. So good to see you, Scott. And I didn't hear him. I seen him. I acknowledged him. But I didn't hear him. So time goes on, and I find myself keeping up with Miranda Williams. And of course, all of you all that know me well. You know I caucus on both sides. I caucus on the Democratic side, but I caucus really heavy on the Republican side. I caucus on the side of the community because I'm all about civility, not one particular party or denomination. I'm here for the common good of the whole. And so is Scott. And Scott and I have been doing some great work in the great state of Georgia, the Peach State. And Scott told me that, and then I find out when I get to Kennesaw, getting ready to go to Kennesaw, I understand they have this huge meeting in Kennesaw. And I look at I was with Regina and I, and she looks and she points, she's like, do you know any of these people? I was like, that's Scott. It says, I'm trying to be quiet, but you know, guys, you all that know me, I get excited, like really excited. I'm the baby boy at 4, I said, that's Scott. And I called him, I was on my way down to the judicial conference at St. Simon's Island with all the state court judges. I kind of hobnobbed with different type of people. And I called him up, I said, Scott, well, why were you at that meeting? And he starts, he said, John, he said, what do you mean? I told you, I'm with this program, I'm running it. And so I'm so happy to know that Scott Johnson is at the helm, and I couldn't help and you know, anytime that I reach out to the governor, he tells me who to talk to Scott. And Scott is here tonight. And it's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. Because when you're running plays for the governor, you got to look at Georgia. I don't care what your politics is. We've got a $14 billion surplus. We've got money in the bank. It's because people have made some very, very smart decisions, even through COVID. And we're glad that Scott is here to help save our children, because we need it. Scott, thank you for coming. And I want you to just put your hands together as Mr. Johnson come on. Scott, come on down here. You ought to see his socks. He's got some of the best looking socks, Scott. Come on, Scott.
Thank you, John. After an introduction like that, I think probably the best thing you do is just say thank you and sit down. You know, I'd like to tell you I'm here because I'm the, and go ahead and show you this. So, that I'm here because I'm the chairman of the Georgia Council on Literacy. What a difference we're making, and we're just getting started. But I really have to tell you, you can't say no to John Marsh. That's really why I guess probably I'm here as much as anything. But congratulations to you all who have completed this program. You deserve the honor and the accolades that you're getting. And there's so many things that I've learned from talking to folks already here tonight that are part of this program, that are attending it in some way, but there's so many things that you can learn from the folks here. And I'll tell you, I learned something, and I'll come back to this, but my favorite saying, I'm going to share it with you tonight, okay? But it's one of the most important things you will ever learn if you take it hard. It's real simple. You can remember. You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. Me, I'm going to say it again, because I want you to hear it. You can already tell it back to me because it's so simple, right? You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. Because showing up makes a difference, right? I was talking with Thornton earlier tonight and talking about his leadership, how he showed up at a PTA meeting. And before you know it, he was an officer. Before you know it, he's president, and then became national president, right? For showing up. So whenever you get the chance, show up. Let me tell you a story about some of these dyslexic advocates here tonight, because they made a difference. Some are here and some that are not with us tonight. But I was chairman of the State Board of Education. So before the governor asked me to chair the Georgia Council on Literacy, I spent a decade on the State Board of Education. And I had the opportunity to serve a term as chairman. And when I was, there were some folks that just began to show up, sit up on the front row, in the the group, the audience there, and just show up, meeting after meeting after meeting. And then afterwards, they come up, introduce themselves, and they stick around and talk. And they stick around and talk about what they're interested in, and their issue, and why they were there. And I'll tell you something, what was important to them became important to me. Because they took the time to show up. And they took the time to stick around and talk and say, this is why we're here. This is why we're passionate. And this is why it's important. And you know what? When that happens, that's contagious. And that becomes what was important to these advocates, most of whom got engaged in this because of a child that is, faced with a reading challenge, a language challenge. So they became passionate about it. But if you're passionate, you can spread it around. And so they showed up, and I'll tell you, someone told me one time, Scott, the best advocate for something, or the best lobbyist, or whatever, and they're not highly paid lobbyists. They're not the silk stocking, alligator shoe type lobbyists, but they are lobbyists, and they're Dan Govins too. And he said the best lobbyist or the best advocate for an issue is somebody that will walk 5 blocks out of their way just to happen to run into the person they need to talk to. And that's the way it works. And the way it works in business, and the way it works in government, and that then there's a lesson there. Show up, care, and walk 5 blocks out of your way to connect with that person you just happen to need to talk to. They eat lunch here, or there's some reason they go to this Starbucks, and that you can connect with them. There's nothing like a personal connection. We live in a digital world, right? There's nothing like a personal connection. I knew of some of you before tonight. Some of you I never met before tonight, but I won't forget you after tonight, right? And I hope the same is true for you. So, I'm not even sure I need it. Service, and I know you all are here. You all completed this program because you believe in serving, right? And I see every head nodding because you believe in service. And I was not I spent 10 years on the State Board of Education, but it was really, it came out of, I'm a business person, and I ran into the former governor, Governor Deal, and I was at a breakfast where he was speaking, made the decision to go there because the governor was going to be there speaking, and he said, Scott, we knew each other. I mean, we knew each other from campaigns and whatnot. He's a former congressman. And he said, has my office called you? And I said, no, sir. Not lately. And he said, well, we got something we want you to do. And so let me tell you, the phone didn't ring. And it's like a month later, and I called up. I just happened to know the chief of staff, and I said, look, Chris, I'm not looking for anything to do. But the governor said this, and because he asked, I'm going to reach out to you and say, did I miss a signal? Did I miss a phone call? I'm not even looking for anything, but I don't want to ignore what the governor said. He said, oh, we got something we want you to do. And he said, the next day the office calls and we want to serve on the State Board of Education. Now there are 14 members across Georgia in the State Board of Education, and they are really the policy body for education that happens in Georgia. Now, that being said, I said, my answer was, really? Because I didn't have a background in education, a business person. But let me tell you why, and I'll quote, I believe it was the now Chief Justice Boggs, but he was a Supreme Court, I think it was a Court of Appeals when on the Supreme Court. Got it close to right if it's not exactly right. But anyway, but said one time, you must be a brilliant legal scholar, to be a judge and that sort of thing. He said, no, I just knew a governor. But the truth is, the governor trusted him. And that will make all the difference in the life of you, whether you're in this class or just in this audience. If you connect with people and can gain their trust, then you will be able to do things that you never imagined. And that is, and if you learn that tonight, if you don't remember anything else I said, or even me, but if you remember that, that's worthwhile. Nora, I've seen the truth about reading in a private showing. What a magnificent work of art. Thank you for your consultancy in that effort. I like to say, and I say this all the time, I like to think I'm Georgia's evangelist, even though I'm going to get like okay, chairman. So I spent 10 years on the State Board of Education, and then the legislature had created this Georgia Council on Literacy. Thank you for your thank you for all those who supported and voted, the legislators who voted for the Georgia Council on Literacy. It passed overwhelmingly, bipartisan, unanimously, because everybody got the message. It's a problem. It's a problem everywhere, but it's a problem in Georgia. And so after 10 years of service, I say service like you all believe in, I got the opportunity with this. It's like, okay, I've done that, but I couldn't sit down because this new council was created to address our problem on literacy in Georgia. And so it's a 30-member panel, and it's practitioners, it's teachers, and it's local board members, and it's superintendents, and it's business people, and it's lawmakers, all come together to get alignment on fixing one thing, and that is ensuring that we live in a society where people can read, and making sure that we focus on that from birth to 5 years old, because that's key. That's one of our working groups, is birth to 5. Because we realize that learning doesn't start in kindergarten. It starts, as a matter of fact, typically it can start in the third trimester of a pregnancy. Because learning and listening to a mother and to starts right there and goes through those preschool years. Kindergarten through 5th grade is another working group that's the heart of really what we're doing, is making sure that kids can, as someone has already said, go from learning to read to reading to learn. Those first 3 grades, or first 4, K through 3, to the 4th grade when when hopefully will change the trajectory. We know our NAEP scores, the National Association of Educational Progress, says really Georgia's 32% of our children are proficient to go from 3rd to 4th grade. Now there are other numbers, but I'll tell you, I don't care if it's 1/3 or 2/3. It's a problem. And people say, Scott, is it a problem? Is it a crisis? Is it an issue? Well, I can just tell you, we're gonna work on it, because if we don't, it will soon be a tragedy. Deloitte and us is tragedy not just for individuals, but for our future. Deloitte did a study for our council already. We've only been in existence about 5 months now, did a study for us, did it pro bono, thank you to them, and they said, you know, in Georgia, nearly $1 billion. Illiteracy and low literacy costs our society nearly $1 billion in social services that have to be delivered, and lost opportunities for people to make money in their careers. That is a tragedy, and it's not okay. And I love what you said, but it's, you know what, we're not after a third or 2/3, or we're not after 95, we're not after 99. You know, they used to say, go all the way with Jesus because 99.5 won't do. You know, you've heard that. Well, look, we're going to go all the way with literacy because 99.5 won't do. We're going to believe, until we're proven wrong, we're going to believe that every child can read and every Georgian can read, because we can't settle for any less. It is our, and I'm going to wrap up because I know, John, we got things to do, but it is our most solvable problem in our state. You know, when I look at some of the problems we face, homelessness or hunger, I can't even wrap my head around some of those things, how we begin to solve them. But I do know this: we got children in classrooms and seats, and we've got teachers that if given the right instruction and the right training and the right tools, we can solve this problem. So literacy is doable, and illiteracy is our enemy, and it will be our enemy forever. And you know, so our council is, by the legislation, it has it goes to the end of 2026. And what, you know, what do you think it'll be renewed? I don't even want to think about that at this point. What I do want to think is that maybe not. Maybe we can, in 3 years, set ourselves on a trajectory where we don't need another government. Government, you know, somebody said nothing closer to eternal life than a government program. Well, you know what? Let's set ourselves in this 3 years on a trajectory so we are assured that that we have engaged in the things that are proven, data proven, that kids can read, adults can read, and like I said, I talked about birth to 5, kindergarten to 3rd grade. There's 2 more working groups, and a little bit about council I want to say about. One is community literacy, and that's ensuring adults can read. You know, we got adults that can't read, and they're a challenge for our society, or they can't read well. Some of them are in your film. We can't leave them. We can't ignore them. If we fail them somewhere along where they fail, it doesn't matter. We got to ensure that there's opportunity for them to learn to read as well. And then professional development for our teachers. You know, I just can't say enough about Chancellor Purdue in our university system of Georgia, who has taken up this thing and said we want to ensure that there's alignment from what we're teaching in our universities to our Professional Standards Commission, that ensures our teachers are qualified to align with the science of reading. And when they are, these data-proven methods, and it's not just phonics. Phonics is a big part of it. It's not just phonics, but phonics, phonemic awareness, language, all those things that I don't even have to cover them with you because you've heard them all before. To make sure that they are, make sure that our teachers are ready to teach when they go stand in front of the classroom. We can be part of the problem, or we can be part of the solution. I'll tell you, only about a year and a half ago, I sat and listened to Comer Yates from Atlanta Speech School, and he talked about this issue, and it really raised the awareness of it for me. And I thought, I've been on the State Board of Education and didn't realize this stuff, a lot of this stuff. I've been part of the problem, but I'm going to now be part of the solution. And so I want you to join in that being part of the solution. Beginning tonight, but I know you've already been part of it, and continuing on and on. So if I'm an evangelist for literacy, I want you to be. I told a group of legislators I was meeting with last week, and state leaders, I said, I want you to talk about this everywhere you go. I'm talking to the governor's office, I want to be a part of the State of the State speech on what we're doing in Georgia for literacy. But I told the group of state leaders, when you preach, folks get religion. And what I mean by that is that when our leaders speak, our citizens listen. And if it's a priority for you, it'll become a priority for a lot of people. So I challenge you tonight, make it a priority for you, because you're a leader. You wouldn't have done this program, been a part of this class, if it weren't for your leadership, the leadership that you've shown. You wouldn't have gotten in the door. You wouldn't be wearing the cap and gown. So become an evangelist for literacy, and by doing that, you can help solve this problem. And we can do it together. I often say, this is just some things I say about literacy, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. Is that it's Georgia's most solvable problem. I never talk about that. I don't say that, but I also say that this. I don't know if this is the most important thing that our state will undertake in the next decade. I can't tell the future. Who would have known about it? Who could have predicted COVID, right? But I can tell you, this effort is as important as anything our state will undertake in the next decade. And you're part of it. And so let's be part of the solution. Let's be the folks that they said it ended illiteracy, low literacy, and the challenge of kids not being able to read and adults not being able to reach their potential ended with the folks in our generation, the folks in 2023, the folks that took up the effort beginning then and didn't stop until every child can read and every Georgian can read. John, I appreciate the opportunity. I never like to take, I told you, I'm here tonight because John asked, but I'm here tonight because you're here mostly. Because I wanted you to know that I appreciate your effort you've put into this class, the program itself, and the opportunity to talk about Georgia's most solvable problem. And if I can help you or serve you at any time or just talk about literacy, I'll do. Believe me, you can call on me. John's got my contact info. He'll give it to you. You can give anybody my contact info, and if I can serve you, that's what I do. All right. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
So I just tell you, it is definitely a beautiful opportunity. I'm going to ask that our esteemed pianist, I don't know if you all know this, but this young lady is one of the most phenomenal pianists in Georgia and really in the world. I don't know by, other than divine intervention, how she came by way of this group, but obviously there are some phenomenal things that are coming your way. And if you would, Drew, I would ask that you would play a little melody because we're getting ready to give out our certificates. But give her a hand clap, guys, right? Where she's done and has continued to do a phenomenal job. I also want to thank our guest here tonight, Nora, and the ladies from the C-suite in Roswell, and thank you, Holly and Vicky and my newfound friend. You guys did a great job. When I met them, we went from energy to synergy, and so this has been a dynamic opportunity. Now I'm going to ask at this point if one of my board members, Ray Cobb, if he would come and stand with me. I'm going to ask if Dr. Wendy Taylor would also, if she would come, and PhD in education would stand, and I'm asked that Attorney Borders would come, Felicia Borders would come and stand with us as we prepare now to give these certificates out. And so we're just glad, and once again, give yourselves a hand clap, because I know everyone who graduates that is here tonight, they did not make it without family and friends. But I'm going to call your names. Just so you know, if you look at the program, or That's How We magazine that will come out once per quarter, you see a lot of faces. You'll see my daughter's face, Dr. Courtney Marsh. She lives in Chicago. You see Tim, one of my other cousins that live in Chicago. We have Hassan, he's in Tennessee. So we have 40 graduates that graduated tonight. They crossed over. So though you may not see them here, we have people in California that online, this coaching class is taking place. And we've had some of the smartest people in the world, in the country, to teach these classes. And I just didn't have that as an opportunity. But what I did have, real quick, I did have Dr. Wendy Taylor. And when I let Dr. Taylor know what we were doing, Scott, I came to a program called Why Johnny Can't Read many years ago, and Johnny or Johnette can't read. They simply couldn't read because they couldn't see. So we started giving out glasses and doing tests. But, you know, as Scott said, and most articulately, you know, you have to have people who believe in you. And so Dr. Taylor, she believed in me, and she believed in national education, and she took us into the Gwinnett County School System and got us the green light to go into every Title I school in Gwinnett to test and make sure that the children had adequate glasses and devices. So tonight is not about me. Tonight is about you all. And we're actually going to Capitol Hill. This message that Mr. Johnson, Scott Johnson, was telling you, is not just a Georgia message, but it's a national message. And we have Nora here from Michigan, all the way from one of the greatest lakes in the largest body of water in the continent, here, and has floated up here to let us know that we need to do this. So I'm going to ask that all of our graduates would stand at this point, and I'm going to ask that as they stand, that Regina, that you will come here, up here to Regina Carden, and as she comes, and we just kind of going to make our way. You just come on, Regina. We're just going to bring you one at a time and shake your hand and welcome you on, and you're going to shake Dr. Wendy Taylor's hand, and congratulations. You all give her a hand clap. Come on. And our board members, Felicia, great job. Come on, give us some love, guys. We also have right here Miss Karen. Yeah, come on up, Miss Karen. Give us some love. Give us some love. That's such a fantastic job. Amen. And we have you, young lady. Congratulations. I also want you all to know, wasn't sure how many graduates will be here tonight, so we didn't want to print out everybody's name, but you will get this as well. If you were coming up, Miss Janet Williams, you all know I know my congregants, right? Come on up, Miss Janet Williams. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. Congratulations. Congratulations. And
and congratulations again. All right. Come on up, Doctor. This is psychiatrist, Dr. Clark. Come on up, Dr. Collins. So glad to have you, Dr. Collins. In the C-suite. Congratulations, Doctor. Congratulations. Well done. We also have Sister Kearney, First Lady of New Mercy. Come on up, Sister Kearney. So glad to have you. So glad to have you, young lady. And she's an educator. She's an educator as well, been in education for many, many years. So glad to have you, young lady. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Yes, ma'am. God bless you. We also have Miss Bridget Washington. Miss Bridget Washington, come on up. Come on up. Y'all look very great job, Bridget. We're proud of you. We are proud of you. We are so proud of you. Great job. We also have Miss Jennifer Clark. Come on up, Jennifer Clark. So glad to have you, young lady. Great job. She and Karen Gamble, they have graduated from Occup Prep and some of the other classes that we had. God bless you, young lady. You know I'm proud of you. We also have Mr. Johnson. Come on, Mr. Johnson. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. He comes from a legacy and a family of nonprofits. Family has been working with nonprofits for many, many years, all his life. And so glad to have Mr. Johnson. He has his children, his son, his wife, his father, his brother, his cousins. Everybody's here. Great job. Great job, young man. Good job. God bless you. We also have Jessica Kearney before. Come on up, Mr. Johnson. The business owner, entrepreneur, family of philanthropic work. So glad to have you, young man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great job. You know I'm proud of you. God bless you. God bless you. So glad to have my friend, Mr. DeMarcus Jordan. Come on up, Mr. Jordan. He's been working in the community with fathers and with young men, mentoring with the church, and just on fire and has a lot of contribution to make. I'm really proud of you. Dr. Thornton, come on up, Dr. Thornton, come on up anyway. So glad to have him. Amen. We know he is a lieutenant colonel, retired from the military, worked also with the Obama administration, and just have done a great body of work philanthropically and the PTA as well as past president of the United States. So glad to have you, Dr. Thornton. God bless you. Real quick, so we want to thank each and every one of them as they have graduated. We have some food waiting and ready for us, and really, really quick. I want to, if you would just take that gift. Well, come on up, Bridget Washington. Come on up, Bridget. Come on. Get up, come on. In every class, you have a rising star, and you all are stars, but Bridget has been, most recently, a part of an organization that has, how much was the money? Was it $5 million that y'all was able to give over $5 million check to the Marriott school system, public school system in Bridget? The city of Marietta. So open that up and let them take a look and see what that is. You know, the world is not ready for you and the body of work that you are doing. She shot and kind of throw it up. But what that is, and we'll let you, so this is something that we want you to have, and it goes on your desk. But come on, you all, show us some love. Come on, show us some love. Okay. All right. Brother Johnson, come on up real quick. I want you to come up, Brother Johnson. Come on, Brother Johnson. Come on, Brother Johnson. Expeditiously. Come on up, brother. So we always have rising stars, and I started this program many years ago with the governor's blessing, and we took through COVID, but we had some rings made, some special rings. I want to bequeath one of them to you, my brother. Come on up and get it. They come from the family and doing philanthropic work for many, many years. God bless you, man. Thank you. Keep up the good work, man. All right, come on. I also want to, Sister Kearney, you have been working in the church, you've been working in the school, and I spent a lot of time with your son, as well as you and your husband. piggybacking and kind of reinforcing everything you all have said, but I want you to know that you are a rising star within your own right. Sometimes for a woman, it's very, very difficult for Coretta Scott King or Laura Bush or, you know, our First Lady, Marty Kemp, to live in the shadows of their husband. But I want you to know, young lady, you stand on your own body of work, and tonight we want to recognize you also as a rising star. Come on up and get one of these. Come on up. Come on. See, they wasn't ready for this. I just do little stuff, you know. Yeah. Superman came up. Thank you so much, young lady. God bless you. Keep up the good work. God bless you. Dr. Collins has a very, very tough job. She works with children in the school system, children that have all type of psychological issues. And Dr. Patricia Collins, I want you to come on up real quick. And because we understand that, I remember a psychiatrist friend of mine, Scotty, who's a lead psychiatrist in Meridian, Mississippi, and Dr. Timothy Summers. And I was talking to him one day, and I asked Timothy Summers, Dr. Collins, I said, Doctor, I said, what happened to your head? He had a gash across his head. And he was just from Chicago, very well-kept man. He's right around 80 years old, and he looks every day at 40. Just well-groomed. I said, what happened to your head? He said, one of the kids, while I was counseling, picked up a chair and cracked him across the head with him right before I could block it. I said, what? And so the job is wrong, and what you do and the profession that you have. But thank God for what you do. You're a rising star, and I want you to know that tonight. God bless you, Dr. Collins. Keep up the work. And so we're just thankful and grateful, and last but certainly not least, you know, I met this young man, and you know, DeMarcus Jordan, you work with fathers, you've worked on the backside of doing work, and sometimes it's those men, sometimes we as men, DeMarcus, we're very hard-headed, takes us a long time to get it, and so you kind of feel what the women feel, because you've had to work with some hard-headed men like me, stubborn, but you come on up and get one of these rings, my brother. Come on up. Thank you for the work that you do. You keep up the good work, and may God continue to bless and strengthen you. Our closing remarks tonight will be made by none other than a great friend of mine, Dr. Wendy. As we digress, we're going to let her have a few words. We're going to leave the stage. Dr. Taylor's going to give us some closing remarks. And then we're going to let our husband come up here and stand with us, and he's going to give us a little prayer for us to pray over the food. Yeah, you're going to pray over that food, Doc. You got to do it, Doc. You got to do it.
Okay, y'all saw my face, right? This is what John does. He will put you on the spot at a moment's notice. I think this has been a beautiful occasion. I met John many years ago, and we do share this love of literacy and education, and I'm an educator, retired, but CEO of my own education consulting business with my husband. But so education is always going to be a part of what I do, so I'm always so pleased to see graduates at any level doing anything, because I know what you have to go through to get there, and keep going. I know this has been a long occasion, and I'm not going to be standing between you and food. And so, but there was a quote that Nora made from Frederick Douglass, and one of my favorites from Frederick Douglass as well, is that it is easier to build strong children than repair broken men. So I will end with that, and I hope that everyone goes home safely, and I thank you all for coming. My husband's supposed to do a prayer or something. Come on, Dr. Taylor. You're a Taylor & Taylor Education Consultant, so look us up if you ever want to find us.
So bow our heads. Dear Lord, we thank you so very much for this gathering, and we ask you to bless everyone who has been here, who's here under the sound of my voice. And dear Lord, we ask that you bless the food that we're about to receive, and we'll use it for the nourishment of our bodies, and we'll also use it to give us the strength to always uplift your name and in your kingdom. And it is in your name that we say, amen.